Okay, Chevra, I always appreciate Parshas Mishpatim. We got to learn some psukim. I wanna learn some psukim in Parshas Mishpatim that I think could be beneficial. Some of the things we're going to share are divrei Torah that we've learned together over the years here. So I expect to review some stuff, but reviewing by me never means that you say over what you once thought. I don't like that. Be present. When you review, you should sometimes disagree with what you once said, sometimes chap something new. I don't like, my father spoke a lot about chazara is the ikr, reviewing is the ikr. Reviewing never means mindlessly reading. If you mindlessly read, I don't think that really helps. Reviewing is to learn something presently, read it. Something you've studied, to study. I want to go through Parshas Mishpatim and really, but be present. Think about ideas we have discussed. The first idea is an idea we discussed here. If everybody can look, it's page 222. If you have a different chumash, it's Perek Chav Gimel Pasuk Aleph. Parshas Mishpatim, Perek Chav Gimel Pasuk Aleph. In this chumash, it's page 222. There's the first pasuk I want to see, and the pasuk Hashem speaks about lashon hara in many places in the Torah, and this is one of the sources. The Chavetz Chaim brings many psukim. This is one of the sources of the Isser of being mekabel lashon hara, and the pasuk says Loisisa shema shav. Loisisa means to carry. What we would translate to accept. Loisisa, don't carry, don't bear, don't carry. Shema shav, a lying statement. Which is the Isser not to be mekabel lashon hara. Don't be mekabel. Don't carry a lying statement. Don't be mekabel lashon hara. Now it begs two questions. That's the beginning of the pasuk. 4 words, not to accept lashon hara. Do you remember? Does the Torah have nekudas? And of course not. There's no nekudas in the Torah. So loisisa, we have a messiah to read it loisisa. Just as well, you could say it's loisasi. Loisasi means don't give over. Loisisa is to be the receiver. Loisasi is to be the quarterback. And the Gemara says this is a fascinating there's a fascinating example where we read it one way, but it's written a different way. We darshan both. We darshan the way we read it, not to be mekabel lashon hara, loisisa, and the way it's written, loisasi, don't say lashon hara and don't be mekabel lashon hara. It's called a Kriik Siv. But this is the pasuk, both not to accept lashon hara and not to give lashon hara. That is what the pasuk says. Now, Menachem, there are 2 questions that come up. There are really more questions. Somebody could ask, why do we have a Messiah to read it this way? So we have Nekudas this way, but it means that's very in bounds to think about. I would like to think about 2 things on this pasuk. I'd like to think about, why is it called a lie? Shav, Onklis is a Tana, and if you look at Onklis, he says, Leisikabel Shema de Sheker. Don't accept a lying statement. Now, I want to say why that's so difficult for me to understand. I'm the guy listening. I don't know if it's a lie or not. Don't accept a lie. Let's say I tend to believe the guy, and I don't think it's a lie. So interesting. What?
Not painting a true picture. You're showing one item of the person.
Fair statement. Very fair. I want to tell what Eliyahu said. Fair. The Torah. I want to nail the question. I heard a piece of information, derogatory piece from somebody. What does God tell me? Don't accept the lying statement. Why do you call it a lying statement? I have no idea if it's a lie. So if I know it's a lie, let's say I think it might be true. Very fascinating that the Torah called lashon hara a lying statement. Onkelos translates the word shav as a sheker. So don't accept a lying statement. I'm not sure it's a lie. Now, it's worse yet, because if you learn Chavetz Chaim, he brings kama rayas, he brings absolute proofs, and the Chavetz Chaim says that lashon hara is even if it's objectively true. And he brings proofs to that from Shas. The Torah says don't accept lashon hara. The Torah calls lashon hara a lying statement. And we darsha from Yerushalayim not speaking, don't say lying statements. Lying statements, derogatory statements. Why did God call lashon hara lying statements? So we have a Chavetz Chaim Ulahedius proves that it's even untruths. And even without the Chavetz Chaim, I'd be bothered by this. Because I'm a listener to a derogatory statement. I frankly don't know if it's true or not. And Ezra, God tells me, don't accept that lying statement. Hashem, I would say, God, I don't know if it's a lie. Why would you tell me don't accept a lying statement? Tell me don't accept a derogatory statement. Hashem calls Lashon Hara a lying statement. It's compounded by the Chavetz Chaim proving from Shas that Lashon Hara is even on the truth. But even if I didn't know the Chavetz Chaim, I'd be bothered by the pasuk. Don't accept the lying statement. Hashem, how do I know if it's a lie? And if I think it's true, it's not a problem? God, when He said not to be Makabel Lashon Hara, said don't be Makabel a lie. Eli Fair Kasha. First of all, the Chavetz Chaim proves Lashon Hara is even untruth. And if I didn't know the Chavetz Chaim, I'd be bothered by the pasuk. Don't accept that lying statement. Hashem, I don't know if it's a lie. I just don't know if it's a lie. So what do you say? Don't accept the lying statement. It calls Lashon Hara the lying statement. L'chayr, it should have said derogatory statement. Don't accept derogatory things on people. Now, it might be a lie. Why did Hashem call it, don't accept the lie? So I want to say something. Eliyahu said this. I want this clear to everybody. And it's deeper than a vart. Eliyahu said if there's no context, even a bad thing, I want to express something. Somebody could say 100% the truth and they're a filthy liar. I've seen this. I'll give the example. There are people that love dirt on other people. There are people that like historically unusual stories. It's a certain type, it's a kav. You'll say Rabbi Kiveger, say, you know the story with Rabbi Kiveger, and they'll say a true story, but you know him less knowing that story. The person's a liar telling you that story. Now the story is true. You'll say, oh, I know a certain Rashiva. You know the Rashiva, and they'll tell you a story that's 100% true. They're telling you the story to give you a certain picture about him. You're a filthy liar by telling me that story. And because your story is meant to paint the picture, your story could be true and you're a liar because the picture you painted is a lie. And that's what matters, the picture you painted. It's literally, by me, it's frustrating when somebody has like the story that makes you think different about a big person. Kivega, you think it's so pashut. You know. They'll tell you a piece of it. I can, people, those are like the dirtiest liars ever. They're like the worst liars because they use the truth to paint a lie. It's like the deepest liar. The Gemara says that every lie is built on truth. A guy who's not a good liar just tells you straight falsehood. The best liars are built like there's room for truth. You could literally say 100% the truth and you lied. It's cool that a derogatory statement that's not allowed is called a lying statement because you made a negative picture on somebody. You told them all the positive. So you're literally a liar. You took a soul. People are big people. When you slam them, you're a liar. You're literally a liar. I'm not listening to liars. I refuse to listen to liars. But the story is true, but you paint it as a lie. It's remarkable to me. I'm saying it all. I'm not saying an old vert. It's like crazy that to say bad on a yid, God calls it a lot. You're a liar. That's how Hashem calls a derogatory statement. And it makes a lot of sense. You're talking about a big soul. And you put him down. You're a mamish shakran. You're a liar. Literally, kipshutai. Not because what you said is not true, because now the picture you pack like, what did you say? Yeah, you didn't tell me the story of the guy. And there's always reasons people do things. You're literally a liar. There's a whole person here. You know the picture of a kid, I'm going to say this, you know the picture, he does drugs. Like the picture of him, he's one of the bad ones. Like there's a room full of people. You have the guy who's like, I'm not condoning, I can't stand drugs. But the picture is a guy who's suffering. I'm not making something mutter. You just don't know as if like you have the good boys who choose good things and the bad kids who choose bad. Now there is something objectively called bad, by the way. But everybody understands there's a person here who has this choice, there's some reasons he's choosing. I'm not condoning, there's objectively wrong. But you haven't like told me about the person.
So you're saying, even if it's not a bad thing, even if you lied about the guy, it's still lashon hara? If you don't get the guy exactly, even though
It's
you're not
lashon hara. You're not allowed to rip somebody, right?
Even if it's not ripping the guy, even if you just say something bad, which is true, but it's not nailing him.
But let's say it doesn't put. Let's say you say a positive thing.
Which is not. Yeah.
I don't think that's lashon hara because it didn't create a bad picture. The lie is the bad picture you created. If you say a positive thing, people say tzid because he's even bigger than that. So I don't know if that's lashon hara. Anything which creates a further than positive picture is called a lie. So it has to be derogatory, but any derogatory is a lying statement. You're not allowed to rip somebody. You're just not allowed because people are big and you're a liar. It's cool. It's interesting. You know what I like about this, Yitzchak? The question is how don't you accept it? But yes, a very honest guy speaking. Understand he's not being honest. When he didn't give you context, he's really not being honest. He doesn't lie. He clearly does. He gives over pictures. That guy, by the way, in history who says, you know the story of Kiveger, I don't want to hear, you're a liar. I don't want to listen to you. You're a dishonest guy. When you tell me that story about Rabbi Kalish, you're literally a dishonest guy. People even struggle with this, but he's an honest guy. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's not an honest person. He's not. He wants you to have pictures of Rabbi Kalish. He's not an honest guy. He pretends, he rationalizes that he's not an honest. A guy who does such a thing with tzaddikim, spreads such stories, is completely a dishonest guy. I wouldn't trust him, mamish. He's not trustworthy. A guy who knocks Yidden and told you didn't give me the context, he's not an honest person. We have to reframe. We say, but he is honest. He doesn't make things up out of nowhere. He does make things up. He took a Yid who's a beautiful Yid. Picture a friend, this story, Avi. Picture, he's a drug guy. He's a drug guy? You're a liar to say he is. Because the picture you made, when you say a guy's a drug guy, it's not just cute. You're trying to picture this rebellious, mean. You don't know his story. It's like it's silly for anybody who knows people. It's like you're a liar. You're literally a liar. You literally didn't tell the truth.
Wow.
So it's not just like a funny. I spoke to a very big person who's very exact with his words. And I said on Chevra, I said they're lebedik. They have a lot of energy. And he got upset at me. Don't say lebedik. Like, say what it is. I disagree. I said lebedik. Saying what you want me to say is you know less about the guy. The best I could do is to tell you he's very energetic. That's the best I could do. You think it's better to say he did this and this? That would be a lie. Because I'm not telling you a context of a story. The best I could do is say energetic. Hurt, might be the best I could do. You said, oh, be more honest. Not honest. It's not honest at all. Lashon hara is called a lie. You were not honest what you created. So the best I could do, if there's a tayelis, you want a picture, I'll tell you, very energetic, somebody who's been through a lot of tsar. Now, I'm not condoning wrongdoing. There's absolute objective wrongs. What picture you want to make of the person who did the wrongdoing is very important. You want a true picture or not? Mm-hmm. And it's fascinating that derogatory is called a lie. Anybody, I don't own the Torah, Rabbi say. You tell me a different shot. I'm telling you here, when it says not to speak Lashon Hara, I'm not saying a vert. I'm not trying to say a cute vert. I'm telling you when God said Lashon Hara, called it a lie. It's remarkable. I think that's remarkable. And when you know the Chavetz Chaim, Lashon Hara is even on the truth, so it comes out even cooler. Even without knowing the Chavetz Chaim, I would ask the Kasha. Because it's telling me when I hear something, don't accept what he's saying, the lying statement. But I don't know if it's a lie. You can't. How do I know? And it told me don't accept the lying statement. So if I'm not sure if it's a lie, when I know it's a lie, if I know it's a lie, of course I don't accept. You don't need to tell a guy without the Chavetz Chaim. Kalish, don't listen to a guy who's lying to you. I promise when I know a guy's lying to me, I don't listen to him, I know he's lying. So the words don't make sense without the Chavetz Chaim. Don't be mekabel lying statements. In as much as I think it's a lie, so I read he wasn't mekabel. I don't need the Chavetz Chaim to have a bomb kasha on the pasuk. You know what I'm saying, Avi? You tell a guy ever, don't be mekabel a lying statement. I promise if I think it's lying, then I'm not mekabel. That's what it means to think it's lying. So what's Hashem saying? To explain this pasuk. Onkelos says, don't be mekabel a lying statement.
You can't phrase it as two different people. One as a person you know, one as a person you don't know. So the Torah is saying the person you don't know, that's a straight up sheker, but maybe you would think.
So 1 second. I'm a guy listening, yeah? I don't know the speaker, the one he's speaking about. Right. And what is Hashem? Don't listen to the lying statement. Now, if I think it's a lie, so I'm not listening.
No, you don't think it's a lie. You just don't know the person, so it makes sense to say it. But with regard to the Chavetz Chaim,
but I want to go right there, even when I don't know the guys. Don't tell me don't listen to a lie. There might not be a lie. It might be.
That.
It doesn't say. That's my point. That's my point.
Well, I think the difference between that and Chavetz Chaim.
That's a good. Right. I agree with you. But I'm saying even that. So I see automatically there's a kasha straight off. To tell a guy don't be makabel a lying statement can't mean that you know it's a lie because then you're not makabel. So, I'm just proving that it has to. You need to say a pshat here. You're not meshubah to my pshat. I like learning Torah. I really like studying the Dvar Hashem. There's a tough one. There's a really tough one. What is it saying? So it means derogatory, and it's not referring to a lie, and Hashem called it a lie. That's fascinating. That's saying that he told the absolute truth, and it's a lying statement, what he's trying to do to you. It even helps people ask, how can I not be Makabel? The guy never lies before. You have to understand people who call they never lie can be big liars. Because they paint pictures that are sheker v'chazav. So guy, mamish, he only tells you he's not a truthful person. It's not a truthful, saying the truth is not true. Literally not. This story, I like this mashal with Gedolim because there are people that are great at this game. So, you know him, you want to hear something? And hearing that, I know him less than if you wouldn't have told me. So that's a lie. So that's, you painted a picture to get me like cloudy. Avi Clark, what? Yes, Daniel.
Not being makabel means not believing that the statement he said, or it's not about believing or not believing the statement, it's about believing the picture.
Once you agree to me the guy's a liar for doing it, it's easy, then he has no nemanis by me. If you agree he's a liar, so why would you say then he has no nemanis by me? At the point that you understand, people get confused. The guy doesn't lie. Yes, he does. A guy who does that with tzaddikim's a liar. He is a liar. So don't be like, how do I not mikabel? He never lies. He does. We're so like he's lying. A guy who says stories like that of tzaddikim's a liar. They go around painting false pictures in people's mind. It's a liar. A guy who says, a guy who carries dirty stories is a liar. So what do you say? I do. He never lies. How can you not believe me? He's lying right now. So why would you believe? You know what I have this, Daniel? I had a maisa in Eretz Yisrael. And it's amazing. This happened to me. I was listening. I like my mother. It's a long story. My mother's a very, very intelligent person who knows history well. I'm a curious guy. I come from a mother who's knowledgeable, and I like knowing what's going on in the world. My mother, when I was in Eretz Yisrael, my mother would send me in the mail newspaper clips with important information. She thought she knew I'm interested. She's interested. She would send me. So when I was married, I don't even remember the time, 1208. There was very little English news. The BBC had an English news where they had like a world roundup. It would tell you like 5 minutes the main events going on in the world, and I'd listen from time to time. I knew a channel, I'd put it on, you listen for 5 minutes, I'd hear like a basic summary of the world news. I once turned it on like a minute or two earlier, and they had some like report, and they were talking about not the tzedakим. They were talking about what's that group that caused us a lot of problems? Not the BBC had a report on the Geiri Emes Geiri Arayis, the Kusim. And if anybody knows history, the Kusim were a big thorn in our side. They were Megayer Avi. It's a very big question. Was that Machleksim if the Geiris was real, or they just did it? They were just afraid animals were consuming Goyim in Eretz Yisrael because Eretz Yisrael likes Yidden. And they became Geirim, and it's a shayla, was that Geiris real or not in the Gemara. They caused us a lot of trouble. They told governments on us. They had a report on the Kusim how Yidden was so bad to them over historically. Now, I know a little history. It was a bunch of malarkey. They were interviewing people from the Kusim, and it was sheker, it was a fake. Avi, and I hear this report that made up stuff, literally changed history. Now, then, so I hear this, I'm like annoyed. Okay, but then the program I was waiting for, the 5 minutes, the World Roundup. And I asked myself, Daniel, here you know they're lying. So why do you believe other things they say? Every report, it's interesting. We just witnessed Ukraine and Russia having a war. It's interesting. We had one president who was firmly on one side and said the other is horrible. And then we have another president who's firmly on one side, the other side. I don't know the truth. I really don't know. I don't know what's happening. It's not so clear. It's when I got to Eretz Yisrael, Avi, do you think the English people learned the Revolutionary War the way we learned the Revolutionary War? What's the truth? I have no idea. It's different people's opinions. They do not learn the revolution. Ask an Englishman how they learn the Revolutionary War. There's no shaykhs the way we learn it. What's the truth? I have no idea. Well, it's funny, Shlomo, to think about. It's just we have a certain way we're taught it. In England, they don't learn it the same way. They learn it a whole different story. They learn it a barbaric people that had no akar satayv, no gratitude. And we learn, what do you mean, heroes who just wanted a little privacy, didn't want to be owned. There are two versions of the story. It's two versions of a story. What am I bringing out to the guys? That there are different ways of viewing events and seeing events. If you know a guy lies, you're not so inclined to believe him. If I hear the BBC lying, and then they're saying world news, so here what you don't know you knew was a lie. So now what you don't know, they're probably telling the truth. My point is when somebody rips people, their liar is real. So you say, no, but he's an honest guy, he wouldn't lie. He's lying right now. If somebody says in a kiveger, a questionable story, he shouldn't be saying over, he's an absolute liar. So it's not yeah. Yeah, sure. Do you understand that? Somebody you look up to, you really admire, and is a really good person. They could tell you a true story, and they're liars. So why would you believe that guy? On what you know, he's lying. If it's true, he's lying. So do I also know it's true? No, but he doesn't say what's not true. He's a liar. He's a liar. So I really don't know. The Torah calls it, don't listen to lying statements. The guy who said it's a liar, if it's true, he's a liar. So why would you believe it's true? You're actually funny to believe it's true. He's a liar. He paints crazy pictures. Guy has this some story. That's an absolute. We're not used to that. We excuse his lying. He's a liar. So I don't know if that happened in the story of Kiveger. He's not interested in what the emes of things are. So how do you know that his thing's emes?
Doesn't that make you worse if you believe that? Let's say someone tells you a story of someone that you think is a very big person or paints a picture. It's only bad if you believe that if someone made a mistake of something that they were dealing with or whatever it was, makes them a bad person. Is that the right?
But it paints a certain picture, Mayor. Whether we like it or not, we're now looking a certain way at him. That's a skewed view. So don't be macabre. Somebody is trying to make crazy pictures. Just say, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in your pictures. I don't want it. I know what Mayor's saying, if you don't believe in the picture, but we're human. We hear information, so we look a certain way.
It's not even necessarily if you did it or not. Okay, people, it doesn't make you worse or better. It's not like...
I know he's saying so in some way, because he's putting something in to tilt it, so he's putting in checkers, I'm not paying attention to such a guy. I don't believe his MS. But by Russ, it's amazing. I find it amazing. Like when you learn it again, it's Pashin a new vart this year. I find it amazing that God called Lashon Hara a lie. Daniel.
And just that you're allowed to say Russia. That's because the picture you're supposed to have of them is that.
I assume.
What was that?
He said that the halacha, you're allowed to say Lashon Hara Russia. So Daniel's saying you're supposed to have a skewed view of him. So it's good. It's not a lie. Eliyahu, amazing, no? I think it hits me like it's remarkable. This is not a vart. It's not like Kishmak for the Shabbos. It's Kishmak for the Shabbos. It's just amazing. You hear, Elia? You saw, your eyes saw the words in the Torah? Look at it. Show him. Perichav Gimel Pas. It's amazing. Unclus, Leisisa Shem Ashab. Don't be makabel a lying statement. Unclus says Leisikabel Shema the Shikr. Don't accept a lying statement.
It makes it so much easier to acknowledge what the person's saying. You're like, how could I?
People always say, how can I not listen? I do believe him. Why do you believe him? You're so funny to believe him. He's painting bad pictures in your mind, but you do believe him? Like the BBC, they lied on this and I believe them on that. Why are you believing them on anything?
Wow.
But it's a fact. Fact. I don't know. They're giving a certain view of what happened, the sense, their sense. I have no idea what happened. It's cool what happened. What I don't know about the Chevri. I am like really intrigued what just happened. We had a president. I'm going to speak it out. There was a president who was Zelensky, who was like the tzaddik, and Putin was the Russia. A new guy comes in and he says Putin's like saying a lot of things. Zelensky. It's like amazing to me. I'm amazed. Don't we like know what happened? The answer is not so clear. The guy's amazed by this. I think it's been like rather remarkable. Two people like the president of the country. They literally see it different than you. I have no idea. I don't. You notice this, Ezra? It's hard not to know. It's like a. Davey, you notice this? You have an opinion? Who's right?
I don't know. I didn't hear Trump's side. He says
He looks at it very. He looks at it very different. Very. I don't know either. Yeah. It's just fascinating. A new guy came with a new look and sees it. Before Putin was like the hated guy, and then this guy comes in and sees it different.
It's so much harder on someone you know. Like, how can you see like it's a lie to help you see the whole picture? You don't not see the whole picture. In your mind, you see the whole picture. You know this person.
I know. Really, mayors, yeah.
You should tell yourself you don't know the person.
Don't we find that out time and time again, Mayor, when we think we have a guy down? We find time and time again there's so much we don't know. People we think we know well, there's so many things we don't know, so many struggles, so many things we really are not privy to. Are we like the worst judges possible on other people? There's things we can't know. We wouldn't be a great judge on anybody. No. Okay, that was one thing I wanted to show though. I'm literally not trying to learn something old, but I want to learn something else that yearly on Mishpatim we've pondered. So if you look one pasuk earlier, it said, Anshe Kodesh Tionli, be holy people, Ubaser Basad Treifa Loisechelu. If there's meat in the field that became a treifa, don't eat it. La kelev tashlichan, I say, throw it to the dogs. Pasuk before, Perek Chaf Beis, Pasuk Lamed. Perek Chaf Beis, Pasuk Lamed, the pasuk before this. It says, be holy people, treifas don't eat, la kelev tashlichan, throw it to the dog. Comes the Das Sekenemi Balei Taisus. The Balei Taisus wrote a Pirush on Chumash. And the Balei Taisus say a fascinating thing from the psukim, from the they say the following through Das Sekenemi. He says like this. He says a guy is a shepherd, and he has a trustworthy guard dog who's guarded for years, and he's kept his animals safe from all predators. Flock is very vulnerable. His says to me like the seh represents the sheep. Sheep actually have geshmaka meat, and they have some animals are fast, some are strong. Sheep is like garnet. The only thing a shepsel has is the guy, the pastach, the shepherd. He has a pastach. A pastach in Yiddish is the shepherd. A pastach, a shepherd. And all the sheep has is the shepherd who guards him. What?
Faster. We have different dialects.
I have no doubt. Faster? A faster is the shepherd.
I don't know all the time.
So there's a shepherd who watches the flock, and a guy. That's what the guy is. Comes a lot of sheep. Aaron, there's a dog who guards the sheep. He's meant to keep out wolves and other dangerous predators. You have a dog, and the guy has a whole bunch of sheep, and he has a watchdog always protecting. The watchdog's guarded for 10 years his sheep and kept them good. One day, The watchdog falls asleep, or he chases a squirrel. He runs far away. When he runs away, a wolf or somebody comes, a predatory animal comes and destroys his flock. And the guy comes back and he sees his flock totally decimated. Says the pasuk, that dog, you owe him gratitude. For 10 years he watched the sheep. Give him hakaras hatoiv. Give him the sheep that are decimated. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your whole flock was destroyed, and the stupid dog didn't do his job properly. Gratitude. Lekelev tashlichan, I say, he was your trustworthy guard dog for years.
Now?
Frek Ravezi, that's not what you're thinking. That's the Das Kanim, says Pshat in the pasuk. That lekelev tashlichan, I say, is your guard dog watched for years. Now, this is the place of gratitude. You're livid right now. If it's Stam said another way the animals got damaged, give it to your dog, he guarded. Here he was negligent in his guarding. Your animals are decimated. And here the Das Kanim says, throw it to the dog, to the watchdog. I just picture the shepherd, he's fuming at his watchdog. His watchdog like ran after a squirrel. While he runs away, an animal comes, kills his flock, destroys and mangles. Says the Torah, don't eat it, treifus. Feed it to the watchdog, gratitude.
Yeah, watchdog.
He did not do a very good job right now.
He's a fat dog.
Here the Kashavi and the Das Kanim, this is gratitude. Here's... That's a good question, Stam. Why is that associated with Kedusha, keeping away from Achol Sasuris? There's a the Kuzari, when he describes not eating machalas asuris, he says that the more dignified a person is, the more refined their diet is. So it's interesting in saying there are things we can't eat. It says anshe kodesh tila, be holy people. You're not so megushim. There's a certain refinement. We don't just eat anything. There's a certain subtlety and refinement to the person who eats less. It's interesting that it associates with kedusha, not so megushim. You're more refined. You don't just eat anything. When it says throw it to the dog, says the Dasakin, gratitude. This is the time for gratitude. So what I just want to suggest, that the Iker Yesod of gratitude is that it survives to be, everybody naturally is grateful when it happens. Something good, you feel good, thank you. The Iker test of gratitude and how grateful you are is, could it survive difficult times? That your dog does for you, everybody feels, oh, what a dog. He comes back and he sees his flock. The yesod of gratitude is even when things, a guy is angry at his mama. Gratitude is, she always is good to me. It's true they messed up, it's true, but I'm grateful to this person. Gratitude is meant when it's chal deeply, is that it survives the mistake and the wrongdoing. That's like the gratitude here to your dog. The person who's be'emes grateful is when his dog couldn't do what it normally does and didn't do it normal, but I have gratitude. That's cool for the test of gratitude. Big people, their gratitude is chal and so there that it can survive the lapse, the mistake. The guy who's grateful to his mother, the guy, an ingrate says, yeah, but she did this to me. Yeah, I hear, but doesn't all the good like chal, isn't it? Doesn't it register? Doesn't it mean something, the good? It's interesting that the Torah teaches us gratitude, the way the Dasikanim is saying, is specifically when the dog messed up. And the mark of gratitude is even though it messed up, but I'm grateful this dog's been watching for 10 years. I'm not just a guy, what have you done for me lately? It's actually chal, what you've done. So throw it to the dog means that gratitude is meant that something registered even when I'm not in that space, but it registered. You have a lot of credit by me. I'm like appreciative. So things could mess up, but something's registered. There's a gratefulness here. What do you say, Rav Ezi?
I think it sounds strikingly similar to the previous part, that this is not what the dog's about right now. Like, doesn't it sound striking?
That what?
Okay, forget it.
I like what you
I
say.
don't know
I like you
just
say.
like before, like you look.
Even the negatives. So if I already say this is a dog who means something to you, as you said, it's strikingly similar to Lashon Haravar.
No, but
There's a truth to
it's
that.
not-
If I could see this dog and appreciate him for all his years of service, that would allow that even though he did have a mishap, but I wouldn't look at. I would.
that's not what I told him.
What'd you tell him? The narcissist.
But
So
is it like weekend isn't it? Yeah. Oh, I thought it was just like doing like a the switch when the kasha suddenly becomes their destination, but it's much more. It's if I think that I missed it, right?
No, I'm not. No, I think gratitude. I'm not asking. I think this is what gratitude is and means, that it actually is chal by a person and is there in a deep way, that it means something to me. That's the mark of real gratitude. So when it wasn't there and couldn't do, but there's something that you've become to me and mean to me, and I could hold that and have that view of gratitude. I'm really appreciative. I've learned something about you. So then even when something's not there, it's not just disappears. I've learned something about you. This is my trusted dog. He really is my trusted dog. The momentary lapse, but I have, like you said, the identity. That's the gratitude. That's when the mark of are you grateful? To me, that's the literal test of gratitude. That's the Torah saying. Specifically, when your dog messes up, is the beginning of your gratitude. So it's not just teaching gratitude; it's describing gratitude. The mark of your gratitude is gufla. I think this is just the truth. To anybody, you're grateful. So you messed up. What'd you say?
It's so hard in the moment, like.
So I wouldn't even ask in the moment. I almost want to say that a grateful person would do this naturally. It's really the test, are you a grateful person? An ingrate would just be, you messed up now. It doesn't matter that they care about you or into you. They think that people we're grateful for, they mess up. But I really appreciate you. Really, I know you care about me.
The good. So
When it's chal, this would be natural. I don't think it's that hard. To people who are really grateful for. So I don't even think this is like, make sure, beat yourself up. Yeah, we do get upset. The guy who registered his trusted dog. This is what would happen when the dog would mess up. He'd hug his dog. This is what would happen. I'm not even saying, Daniel, to bring it, make sure your gratitude. I actually think this would be natural by a grateful person. He would see his trusted dog. When he messed up, I'm not saying for a second he wouldn't have to, then he would say, oh, my dog, I'll be fired. That's what the Torah is defining gratitude. So I'm not saying you even have to break yourself and bend yourself. I think a person who registered goodness, it would be natural. People who it's a person who doesn't mark any good things. So the second there's a bad thing, they're all of a sudden barking and going crazy. Nothing's chal. The good is not chal. It's not duly noted and marked. And if it's duly noted, the good, the guy who's grateful to his mama because he's noticing all the good, when his mother, she messed up the order, a silly guy, a guy in yeshiva, his mother messes up some order that he wanted. If he can't find it in him to say, she's my mother, how much she does for me, and he's just, but I don't get it, she messed up the order. You're an ingrate because you haven't if you absorbed properly all the times, all the things, all the stuff. I think what would be rather natural, say my mama, okay, she messed up. It would be a natural talk back. If you ignore all the good, you don't mark, you don't notice. So then when something, I think this would be natural, Shlomo. How do you hold, Shlomo? So I'm not saying to. I wonder that it would be a natural space. I don't even want to say immediate reaction. That'd be a natural space. I think that's a natural space. The people we appreciate and mark what they've done to us. So when even something bad happens, it's quite natural to say, to be in that space. That's such a gutta. I think that's where the Torah speaks about gratitude, is when that thing messes up, that you things were duly noted and registered and marked. But if you have no absorption of the good, it wouldn't survive the bad deed.
I'm not sure which one it's talking about. If you're already a good person from before, you're saying if you're already grateful from before it happened, you wouldn't be upset that it happened.
That's what I'm claiming. I'm claiming, yeah.
So let's say you haven't been grateful and you're upset now, right? are you supposed to break yourself and still, like, you are that?
But I think it's a big lesson. A guy has to work on himself. If that guy is at that space, all of a sudden bad, and again, he has no natural talk back, I think he has to ask, how do I register more? Am I absorbing enough the goodness that I'm getting? Because if I'm not absorbing it enough, what's happening? So maybe I'm not paying attention, I don't mark, I'm not noting. I think there is a hisbaininus and a noting and taking account. This person's like there for me. But if you ignore it, you too, whatever, no space in the brain for that absorption, I think this would be a good bechina. When this guy's dog messes up, I think a person of gratitude who absorbed the 10 years of service will naturally feel bad for the dog and even throw him the meat of his mess up.
Throw him the meat of his mess up. I love it.
You heard that? No, the name of the shir, when the truth is a lie. Yeah?
Yeah, I like that a lot. True words. Interesting? Okay.
When the watchdog's is fragile.
If we could go a little earlier, why we're going out of order is a very, very good question. It could be, you know what, just to go in order, okay, you know, we're gonna go out of order. We're gonna go. If everybody could please turn to page 221 in yours, Avalot's Peret Chaf Beis Pasuk Chaf Aleph. Chaf Beis Chaf Aleph. Eli, I want you to see this page. Elio, listen to this one. This is from Reb Tzadok HaKohen of Lublin. Ezra, you ready? Peret Chaf Beis Pasuk Chaf Aleph. This is, I'm going to say a quote from Shlomo's Mama that I like a lot. And listen to this pasuk. Eli, listen to this. Yosef, listen. Kol almana v'yasam loisanun. Every almana and yasam don't pain. Don't cause pain to an almana and a yasam. Almana is a lady who lost her husband. A yasam lost a parents. An almana and yasam loisanun don't pain. Im ana sana oisai, if you pain him. Ki im tzak yitzak alai, and he calls to me. Shemaya eshma, I will listen. Tzakase, to a scream.
Listen.
Anybody notice something? Double. This pasuk out of stutter. If you pain him, and he calls, I'll listen to him. Ask Reb Tzadok, why is the pasuk saying a double? Rev Teitelbaum told me a maisa. Rev Teitelbaum told me he once had a group. He was making, I don't know how he chapped this, but he explained this. He was having a group of ladies who lost husbands by him once. He told me he was yored. If somebody wrongs an almana, if somebody wrongs a lady, does even a smaller infraction, besides the pain of what she's going through, she loses her husband again. Because she says to herself, if my husband would be there, he would protect me from this. First of all, he would feel what I'm feeling. Second of all, it would never happen to me, this indignity. So if somebody wrongs an almana, she doesn't just have the pain of her being wrong, she has the pain, the deeper pain of losing her husband again. Says Reb Tzadok HaKohen that if you pain them, when you pain an almana, besides the pain of what you're doing, you're bringing back the pain of what happened to them originally. And if they cry, when they cry for this, there'll be the deeper cry of what happened originally. And I'll listen to the cry of now, what happened originally. Shlomo's Mama told me a line in yeshiva that if you see a bach, listen to this line, she said hysterical is historical. Somebody's like often overreacting to something. Often hysterical is historical. There's a reason over it. It's this. Why are you acting so much of this wrongdoing? Often, it's because something that's hysterical is historical. Something deeper happened that's making this rather minor infraction. It's bringing up something. It's bringing this. Okay, it was minor, but it brought up something deeper. Often hysterical is historical. Reb Tzadok says here that when somebody goes through loss and you pain them, you understand your pain paining them. You're re-bringing up, it's the pain of what you're doing, and you're re-bringing up old pain. And when they cry, they call out, I'm going to hear the cry of the old thing and I'll listen to them. The deeper thing going on. That's what Tzadok points out. It's very, very sensitive when it comes to deal with somebody else. And for our own self, being aware of this sensitivity, this thing that some responses are bringing up a deeper response to something. This is the Reb Tzadok on this pasuk. Important to know for ourselves and for others, is sensitivity to others and our understanding of ourselves. Yeah. I'm not just going to listen to what they're crying for. No, I'm going to listen. I hear also what they're, even though they might think they're only crying this, I'm listening. Hashem hears very well. I'm going to hear that cry. Be careful.
Why that specific case of an why not like there's so many different traumas that people go through?
Right. That Hashem often, Dibra Kasa Ba'eva, Hashem will pick a common thing and teach us something, and we learn to other cases also. That's a very good question, Mayor. Hashem does it. It's called like a tzad hashav. Hashem will often teach me something one place that's very common, and my job is to learn it for all cases. But I think it's fair to ask, why does Hashem pick? Maybe it's the most common, or there might be other things I'm not thinking of that we could study from here and learn to elsewhere. It's a fair question.
I think it calls it one cry at the end. It's not constant. It says I will listen. He'll cry. I will listen to his cry.
It seems like it's
I know what you're saying. You pain, scream. I listen to his cry. That he only, even if it's only tzak. I'm not sure. It's a good harm. I want to share another pasuk. Just keeps going a little further. In pasuk chafei, perich habeis pasuk chavim chavel sachbol salmas reyecha. If you take a mashkan, collateral is probably the most popular word for a 5th grade Rebbe in elementary school. That's not the word of the day, but collateral is a word. It's a mashkan. Im chavel tachbol salmas reyecha. If you had taken as collateral, you taken a garment of your friend, adbaya shemesh teshivenulo, before the sun sets, return it to him. It's talking about it's a night garment, it's his pajamas, and you took collateral, his robe, return it to him before the sun sets. Kiyuksusai, it's his garment. Levadai, it's his only garment. Simlasai la'oirei, it's the garment for his skin. How's he going to sleep? Now that's very, very lengthy. It's funny, the Torah, which is so mekatzer, is so brief. Hashem is so brief always. And Psukim said so briefly, here Hashem is so ma'irich. Anybody would understand the rationale for this law. If you take a poor guy's robe, hold it by day and by night, give him his robe back. It doesn't need much for an explanation. He needs his robe. Here the Torah is it's his garment. Levada, it's his only garment. Simlasai la'oire, it covers his body. But my yishkav, how's he going to sleep without his robe? The Torah is so ma'irich. Now there are drashas. On each of these things, the Torah is ma'irich, there's a drasha. And yet, there's a way of learning the Torah. It's called the Pashtanim in a simple way. What's Hashem like being so lengthy? Kids in yeshiva, teenagers hate when you speak long. Really, adults are that way also, but teenagers specifically. If you say something long, you could get short. They get very upset at you. I got it already. Like, enough, Kenokshine. This pasuk is return the mashkin of a yid. It's his garment. I know it's his. It's his only garment. I know he's poor. Garment for his skin. I know garments cover skin. How's he going to sleep? I get it. All these things, you took his pillow, return his pillow. It doesn't need much of an explanation. Of all the places, Elio, the Torah is Meirech, it's his only pillow. How's he going to sleep? I got it. Tell me the halacha. And the pashtus, the arichos of the Torah, and the Rambam speaks this in Shemaina Prakim, when it comes to Ben Adam L'Chaverei, you're not supposed to just keep the laws robotically. There's actually a mitzvah to feel your friend. And part of the mitzvah, the Rambam describes, he says, Leiv Rasha Iv Sarah, that Rishaim want bad. It's not enough to do bad, they want bad. A Rasha is not empathetic to somebody else. He might return it, but he doesn't want to return it. The tzivui is clearly not just to return it, it's to feel your friend. It's his only garment. Covers his skin. What's he supposed to sleep? The Torah is literally instructing you, are you seeing him? I was talking to Rai Shapiro about this. The chiyuv to make space for another person. Are you seeing the next person? There are people that are in their story and don't leave room for another person's story. They're like so firmly in their story, there's no room. I want a husband to really have room for his wife's story. I want a wife to really have room for the husband. That time we don't think about another story. In Yeshiva Elia, I once asked Ezra Bork, Reb Ezzy reminds me it was Ezra, I asked you to say your whole way how you got back to Yeshiva. A lot of times people in their own story don't leave room for another guy to have a story. It's like you're like, can I tell you, I want to tell you a story. Dave, we once had a guy in Yeshiva, there's a true story, Shlomo. We once had a guy in Yeshiva, and I went with him to New York. He needed a job badly. And we went together to a very wealthy man who had employment, and I went with the bacher to try to ask the person, could he employ the bacher? We went together. It was a 2-hour trip to New York, 2-hour trip back. When we were in front of the wealthy guy, he came in. He was very kvetchy, how overwhelmed and busy he was. Now, I respect that. People are busy. It was so striking that did he have space? I'm also busy. I don't mind him being busy. He was like totally not sensitive. There was no room for my story too. I'm also busy. I'm almost like, you're not the only busy guy in town. But I was there. I'm not going to go into details. Shlomo said, I love that picture. A lady comes into a bakery. It's like, it says as a chatzi joke, a lady comes into a packed bakery and people are waiting online. She cuts the line. She's like, I'm sorry, it's Erev Shabbos. I'm sorry. Like, please understand me. It's Erev Shabbos. It's Erev Shabbos for us too. People be'emes, you're allowed to be stressed and pressured. Is there room for his story also? Marriage is built a lot on this. I get your story. A man, well, look, he watches the kids. He's like overwhelmed from his. Is he like sensitive? She's also, a guy comes back from work, by the way, and you're overwhelmed. There's nothing wrong that you have your story. Your wife was home all day with the kids and is very overwhelmed from her day also. And part of being a bigger person is there's room for yours, there's also room for hers. You have a lot of space in there. You have your story and there's room. There's room for yours also. I'm also overwhelmed. There's room for her story. There's room for another story. In a lot of ways, what's being said here is room for another person's story. It's not just mechanically giving it to him. There's like room in your heart. You're nice about you feel him. The Torah literally, Pashup Shata, the Torah is mechayev this, that there's really room. It's hard. We're so in our story. It's you know what I noticed this, Dovi, a lot? And I'm gonna call myself out. I had this in sports. I say I had it. We could have it if you don't work on it. When we get injured in sports, your foot's killing you, and nobody should get injured. You have an injury in the middle of the sports game, you're struggling. Often when another guy gets injured, it's like pick yourself up, stop, like come on, you could, because your pain is very real to you. His pain, it's come on, like pick yourself up. There has to be room for his injury also. On your injury, your mamish feeling the pain. Now it's hard, because on his pain, I don't have the senses and the nerves. But there has to be room for his story also. And that's big people make room for another story, that there's really room. He's in pain. You have to carve out a space. Here is the art. It doesn't just say give the guy his mashkin. It is Hashem's very mayach. It's his only garment. Make room for his story. You know where this comes up a lot? Often people who own businesses are very rich. They own the business. And the worker is a guy who lives, most of the country lives paycheck to paycheck. The rich guy might not live paycheck to paycheck. His job is to make room in his brain that the workers are living paycheck to paycheck. The job in this world is to make room for another story, that you could be there and be present to it. If not, a very selfish person, only has space for his story. He has a story too. Leave room for his story. Here, clearly, it's not just saying mitzvah, return his mashkin. It's saying feel his story. Try to absorb, try to be present to his story. The Torah's arichos here is literally telling you his story. Make a space for his story also. I think people could do this with their wife. They literally, by listening a little, asking some questions, you could actually find the space, inquire. I like that Hashem presents us a picture. It's his only garment. I'm chatzi in his closet here. Kuksusay levad, it's his only garment. Oh, I didn't think of that. I have a closet full of garments. By him, he has one in there. It covers his skin. Even the dramatic, I'm picturing. I know what clothing to know. Picture the guy. Feel his story, hear his story, live his story a little bit. I wanted guys, when they come back to yeshiva, I want a guy to think about their friends off Shabbos. You might have had a great experience. By the way, you might have had a very tough off Shabbos. Make room for his. He might have a very good off Shabbos. He might have make room for his story. Be present to his story. Let there be room for another story. I think this separates people, not just the pull of doing chesed. By the way, when people coming around, people tell a story. Try to listen. Ask a question. People come around. You're at a chasna. A guy's coming. I'm making a chasna in a week. He's saying something. We train us. I'm going to give it stuff. Make room for his story. He's saying something. He's saying a story. I've said over the story with Reb Pincus. Somebody came to Reb Pincus. He lived in Ofakim, but he was in a Kabbalah yeshiva all week and would go home Shabbos. An Ani came to him, was only found out by a friend. The friend of Reb Pincus tried to visit him. Reb Pincus wasn't letting him in his room. And the guy forced his way in and saw Reb Pincus had no bed. He was sleeping on the floor. And it turned out an Ani came, said, I'm marrying off a child, and was raising money. And somehow the Ani mentioned that I have no furniture for my kid's wedding. Now, Reb Pincus heard what he was saying and didn't have much money. He gave him a couple of shekel. Then Reb Pincus said, I have a bed in here. He went with the Ani. They carried the bed to the apartment of this guy's child, and he gave him his bed. That somebody was listening. He heard the story. People tune out the story. He actually heard, you have no furniture. He said, I can give you my bed. I don't really need it. And he slept on the floor for the year. And with the Ani, they carried the bed. Just the word of making a space, he's telling you a story. People don't even say Mazel Tov to the Ani. He goes around that people give $1 or don't. He said he's married. Mazel Tov, Rav Yid. Oh, who's the chassan? Geshma. He has a story. Is there room for his story? He's telling you a story. We don't make room for his story, so maybe you give $1, maybe not. It's very, very, not just cool. That's what the Torah clearly is asking of us. Make room for another story. I hear that in all the details, that it doesn't just say return him his garment. The Torah is myrich on his situation. The Torah is saying, try to absorb his whole story. Maskim Elia? I told the guys that I had a bacher pull me in the dining room late in the year in Waterbury, Akiva. It was late in the year in Waterbury, and he pulled me into the empty dining room in the middle of the afternoon, and he said, do you remember when I was trying to put another guy in his dorm room, and he gave me Gehenim? I was trying to move him out. I was trying to do something with dorms. And he said, remember I gave you? I said, oh, do I remember? He said, I'm leaving now anyway. It was late in the year. He said, I'm leaving. He said, I'm leaving in a month. It's June, when it was late in the year. I'm leaving. I'm not doing this to me. I want for the next guy. I want you to know that you look at a dorm room, I put in another guy, I move you, big deal. He said, when I leave this campus, he described his house. He said, I don't know if a minute of peace. He said, the real estate, it's like a peaceful place in my dorm room. There, I'm like safe, comfortable, unjudged. That's my safe space. Understand, you just say, it's just a dorm room, so you don't know my situation. You don't know what happens when I go home. This is the one place. It's not just your dorm room. It's actually the place that I'm shtickle safe. It was very eye-opening. I never thought of his dorm room like that. I never thought of it that way. I was living in my story. Okay, it's just a dorm. And for one guy, that might be a truth. Say they're a dorm room. Say he goes to the base medrash. He goes home. He feels it's his. For some guy, that dorm room might be his only space. It's interesting in Lakewood when people are given roommates. So it's interesting. Sometimes you have a roommate. Sometimes you're moving into a guy's life. It's his like space. It's complicated. Even in yeshiva, how a guy views his room, they're different guys. To make space for his story, to at least know his story and leave room for his story, that's what I see the Torah saying, much deeper than just returning his mashkin as a pu'ula. Maskim Elio? That's how I see in this pasuk. Otherwise, it could have just said, if you take his pillow, return him his pillow. Hashem doesn't say return his pillow. He says, do you know his story? Are you thinking his story? Are you aware? Go to his closet, check out his house. The Torah Hashem takes you on a trip by him. In so many extra psukim, Kyuksusai Levadis is only begets. Now you're picturing like a skimpy house. Simlasai La'ire, he's mamish wearing. Without this, he's completely undressed. But my Yishkav, how's he going to... The Torah is Ma'irich like this, that there's room for his whole story. We could learn David Rosenthal's pasuk. There's so many more psukim that I'd love to study. I do have to. My son's mom is in Eretz Yisrael. My wife's in Eretz Yisrael, and I want to do supper for Yisrael. What's he going to eat, Trevor? What's he going to eat? What do you say?
Yeah, Fruit Loops.
I think Alabama delivers.
You know the picture of the kid who comes to school and everybody knows that the mom is on vacation, like he has different sneakers. He comes in the middle of the winter in shorts. I'm thinking like how Yisrael came today. What? It's a funny picture, like everybody knows the mom is away. Oh gosh. Yeah. He's very conscientious, and he's one of my kids who goes to school always. And I'm not going to deny, and I didn't tell my wife yet, she's coming back, that he was not in school Friday or Sunday. But I'm trying. I run in org now. I'm really very focused, trying my best at different things. But today I'm proud to say he was there on time. I think he had matching sneakers. I read through like the whole checklist.
Not listening.
Yeah. I always say the elementary school moras, like no, if you ever want hack on the parasha, we learned no lashon hara, but if you ever want the juicy lashon hara, the little kids talk. They talk when they don't mean to talk. The elementary moras more than anything know everything about the whole city. You know, little kids talk. Oh, the little kids talk. A lady told me that a little kid, she drew a picture for a little kid, let's Lamazog and Amora drew a picture for a little kid, and the kid said, drew a picture of my mommy, and the Mora drew a picture, and the little kid said, in that picture, the lady's smiling, my mommy never smiles. Do you tell the mother that? This Mora told the mother. She said, you're a good person, but I want you to know the perspective of your kid. Maybe you have to smile more at home. Isn't that crazy, Ab? The little kid asked the Mora, drew a picture of my mommy. The Mora draws a picture of a smiling lady. The little kid said, that's not my mommy. My mommy never smiles. Ouch. Ouch. We're not ending on that, Revesi. Let's.
That's the title. My mommy never said.
What? I think she should share it. If I was the parent, I'd want to hear that. It doesn't have to be judgy. It could be in the kid that day, and you say, I know I would want to know it if my kid had that perspective. What? Oh, I'm sure. That's got to be tough to hear. Oh, goodness. That's got to be tough to hear. Elio, you're the Mora, you share it with the parent? Wow. I want to. I can't say 100% I would. 100% you should. That's like a tough conversation. Hi, Russ, you share that? What'd you say? The shit that we would. To be able to share is another story. That's a tough one.
You say, I'm sure you're always someone that smiles, but today
That has to be. L'shan of Pnei Shalom. You might be right. You might be right.
Somebody's got to tell it.
Oh, mine. Thanks, Emily. It came up this Shabbos.